Welcome back to This Week in Airsoft. This is Javier, Dark Horse, for another installation of Let's Talk Gear. Alright, today we talk about vests, chest rigs, plate carriers, all these wonderful different things you want to call them, technical vests. What works best and what should we pick? Alright, once again, as I've always said and as you always hear me say in my videos, what you see on the movies, what you see on YouTube, that some USF guys using, what you Google, pick, search of what the SF's using in Afghanistan or Navy SEALs using it, that's what they're issued. Remember that. Sometimes they don't get to choose what they want to wear. You know, it's mission essential, and soldiers are issued equipment. All right. So when you're making your considerations, these decisions, these guys going out there and being like, I'm going to do an impression. I'm going to do this. I'm going to choose that because that's what they're wearing. That's not the mentality you should be using. Mission first. Mission essential. All right. What fits what we're doing best. Works. This Week in Airsoft, all of us we're big op players. You know, that's what I live for. That's what the staff lives for, and we do local games occasionally. It's not as often, but so our mission dictates that a heavier vest with more equipment on it is what works and what we need. When I play locally, I also wear all my stuff. That's part of my training and keeping myself, in that mindset and mode. But when I'm tired, I just throw something light on and simple to go because the mission is more important. If your gear becomes a hindrance to your ability to execute your mission and your ability to achieve your objectives, it is no longer a good piece of equipment, no matter how fancy and how good you look in it standing still. You got to always remember that. Basically, heavy loadout that we use, and these are just a couple fine points that I'm going to go over that you should think about whenever you pick any gear, no matter whether put this stuff onto a light plate carrier or a light chest rig or not, or using a really heavy vest. These are still key points that go across the board. Ammunition, magazines, obviously what you need and what your mission dictates for. I use 75 round PMags, so I carry 10 of them so I can last through the long missions. I'm going to switch over to 120 round mid cap so I don't have to carry as many. So, but right now this is what the mission says I need, and what my needs dictate. So this is what I carry. Your missions will dictate. Your missions will say it differently, and you make your decision based off of that. 2 extra mags for my pistol, because I use just this heavy vest right now. I don't have a belt to put my pistol mags on and carry separately. But once again, it's a different loadout setup. Utility pouch, admin pouch. If you need it, have it here. I know guys have this admin pouch with the Velcro, and it turns into a decoration spot for your patches. That's pointless. Alright? Get rid of that crap if you don't need it. If you keep stuff that's mission essential, like maps and stuff in it, more power to you. But if it's there and it turns into this decoration spot for your patches and stuff, it's pointless and dumb to use. Alright? Think about that. Things like hydration, communications, lights, anything that it can get in the way and hinder your ability to operate your weapon should be on your non-firing side, meaning on your left side for me, because I shoot right-handed. Notice my right hand side is nice and clear. There's no big obstructions over here, because I want to be able to engage and use my weapon accurately and be able to be flexible on this side of my body especially. I don't want my sling getting tangled up in any of these cables or hoses right here that I use for my communications and my hydration. So keep that in consideration. I mean, you want to keep that side nice and clear and open for flexibility. Also, these pouches like right here, big bulky pouches, or magazines or grenades right here, that's pointless. I'm a big guy. I take up enough space as it is. But you can take a skinny guy and put big pouches in the side, and he just turned into a big guy, and he's that much less effective because he can't move around right. You want to be slick down the sides as much as possible, as much as you can. That is the ideal thing to do, because that way you can fit through small spaces and through doors, and a lot easier. You guys are killing yourselves here with these, bulky setups with a ton of mags, a big admin pouch, a medic pouch right here, and then another admin pouch over here, or a water bottle holder. That makes no sense right there. Move stuff to the back if you need to. Moving on to the back my ideal prescription for a setup is, I have my hydration. You should always have your hydration, especially for long missions. If you're playing day games or short little iterations where you can just drink some water or a Gatorade between, that's fine. I always recommend hydration. It's a good idea to have it available to you. Utility pouch with mission essentials, right? Why? It's all the way in the back. You know, some guys are like, oh, you can't get to it easily. I can't. But you know what? I fight as a team. My teammates can get to it and get whatever I might need out of it. There's no such thing as this one-man army crap. So my guys can get to it. It's in the back. It's not on my sides and bulky and in the way. In the back, easy to not have to worry about. I carry Thunder Bees on the back because I let my other teammates use them. I'm too busy shooting stuff, so let them get to it. Optional, your choice, not your choice, guys. Don't rock them. Tornado grenades, whatever. Personal choice there. I do have an individual first aid kit on my gear, and that's because a real mission, an airsoft mission can turn into a real world situation at any moment, and you do want to be prepared. It's one of those things that it's like you always have but you never use, and it's there. Those of you guys buying them for decoration and buying fake IFAC pouch, no, put real IFAC stuff in it, okay? There's real first aid stuff in there, so I can render aid to my buddies if necessary. But once again, it's all the way in the back. I don't need it on a leg rig right there. That's pointless. I don't need it on my side once again. It's only there in case of an emergency. And in case of an emergency, I'm going to take my vest off, I'm going to render aid, and the game just stopped. I'm not in combat for real where I need to be able to get to it. In combat, I wear it up front. But in Airsoft, where it's there until the world comes to an end and I got to help somebody, then I get to it. So get it out of the way, get it out of the front, get it off of your sides, in the back, out of sight, out of mind, until it becomes necessary. Communications, I keep my radios up on the top. I wish I put them up front sometimes, but up here, they don't. When they're in the back, they don't accidentally get the switches pushed on them or mess with them. And I set my frequencies to what I need them, out of the way, out of my face. And they also transmit better in the back, because in the front, I can put my arm over them, block them, and it's more likely to be ineffective. In combat, a lot of guys wear them in the front because they have to maybe change channels and work with them. In Airsoft, it's usually squad level, platoon level, and all that good stuff up. I don't have to work, and that's a little less variables they have to worry about. So I've got my two set important channels already there. As you can see, nothing is on the sides bulky and sticking out. Now this is what works for me, but these are the essentials that you should be thinking about. You should be thinking of beans and bullets, you know, what I need to fight with right here in front and readily available. So mags is all here. Map case is right here ready to go. You know, stuff that I don't need and isn't like mission essential at the very second that I need to get to immediately can go right on your back, out of the way, and it's not, you know, cluttering up the front. So you shouldn't have this giant fat admin pouch here if you don't need it. You shouldn't have this first aid pouch here if you don't need it, because once again, you're not going to render aid with your vest on in an airsoft game. Take your stuff off, do what needs to be done, and fix the real world situation. Alright? So your back, nice and sleek out of the way, helps you fix a lot of those problems. This bulkiness right here is unnecessary. Electronics, cables, hydration on your non-firing side, down the side, keeping your firing side clear and open. Now this would be the bulkiest, most I'd say the highest, you know, load kind of carrying situation you'd be in. I know we talk about there's a lot of players, and most of you may not have a setup that sophisticated. All right, and it doesn't make you any less effective of a player. You don't need all of that to be an effective fighter. A lot of times, honestly, something like a battle belt setup with a simple chest rig right here can make you just effective as a fighter. All the principles still apply here that I was just talking about. You know, you don't bulk up your sides. So you wear your pistol right here. You wear your pistol belt and your battle belt setup. You have your pistol holster, pouches for your mags to wear. I would put your pistol mags right here if you want on your non-firing side, so you can reload quick. Same thing with your mags; they go on your non-firing side, so you can reload from. First, I would transfer my first aid to the back of my battle belt, right there where it's out of the way. It's in the back in case I need it. Communications can be moved to the back of the battle belt. Boom, the wire goes up to my right non-firing side, and it's out of the way. and I'm self-contained right there. I've limited what I put on this side once again, because I want to be sleek with my weapon, and I want my non-firing side as clear as possible, other than my pistol holster ready to use. And that's like your last-ditch line of equipment right there. A lot of guys in gunfighter classes and in training for like the MACPOL guys, they run a lot of mags on their belt, and they turn their chest rigs and their chest stuff into backups. Well, that's good in a range and a good in fast shooting, gunfighter situation, but more in combat, I've always seen, and we were always trained at extra equipment here, and then your main equipment here and your extra equipment on your belt. So that's how I run things when I run a chest rig. You use a simple chest rig right here, carry 6 mags, and then carry my extras on my belt. The reason I do it that way is because of this. You're in a combat situation, you're fighting. You run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mags out. Alright? The mission is that you need to bug out somewhere, or you need to quickly hit a target. Well, these are all empty. I don't need them. Boom, take your chest rig off, and now you have your backups with enough equipment on your belt to sustain you for the mission, and you can quickly engage and continue. That way you can drop a layer of equipment and continue to be combat effective. When you do it the other way around, you're dropping your, let's say, so you're going to drop your belt and keep your chest rig? No. Because you have other more important stuff on your belt. That is the ideal formula in my mind when it comes to combining them. Guys will say it different, but if you really think about it, you've got your mags, you fight through your first 6 mags, you got a couple utilities here, maybe water, because obviously you want to hydrate if you're not wearing a camelback, maybe other mission essential stuff, which can transfer to a cargo pocket, and then you ditch this, and boom, I still got my belt and I'm combat effective still. So think about it that way. That's how I look at it. You can ditch the first layer and still have the second layer to fight with, rather than the guys that fight from their belt first and then use their chest stuff as their backup. I think it makes a more combat effective scenario for a player. So when you look at the vest that we saw before, you're looking at a $200 investment in almost worth of gear, right? Well, chest rig, $25, $30. Battle belt, another, I believe, $15 for the battle belt itself, and then $10 for the belt that goes through it, and then whatever you pay for a couple additional pouches, less than $50 right there, or yeah, right about $50 right there worth of equipment. You paid a quarter of the price, and you're still just as combat effective. The average player can go out there, easily acquire this equipment, and be right there in the front lines of how to fight and capability. All right, much lighter, more maneuverable, easier to handle. All right, that's really nice. 2 other good examples that we have here. You got a really lightweight plate carrier system right here. These are becoming more popular because they're light, really light and sleek. As you saw the cummerbunds on the heavier rig, the cummerbund was a little wider. You got a much narrower cummerbund, fitting a little tighter and higher. So when you're wearing these vests, they sit higher on your body with the plate here and here, allowing more open space down below. What this does is that when your gear is higher up on your body, it fits more comfortably and moves better, and you're better balanced than when it sags low. And I mean, it should be high as often as much as you can make it. And then you can also wear a belt, a battle belt. Like I told you, I need to ditch my vest for a reconnaissance mission, or because I don't need all the stuff on it for this quick mission that I got to go on to go pick this person up and get back, or reconnaissance. Ditch the vest, go with my belt that has everything I need to survive this the short period and get back into the game. All right, so these are actually, this is the direction that you see a lot of more professional players going now with the Banshees and the Shellback Tactical Banshees plate carriers. The other style, really light, low profile, slim systems that work really nice. Once again, our firepower is easily accessible right there with all the mags. I want the admin pouch, which once again you don't want to make decoration. Radio pouch on the back, and this is just a display model, so you got your utility pouches in the back once again. So let's keep that stuff off the sides where it gets all in your way. But nice, low profile, much less bulky. You lose a little bit of real estate when it comes to putting stuff on, but you know what? When it comes to being more comfortable and a little more mission effective, I think that's an ideal choice right there. Then you got this is a chest rig This is a chest rig hybrid. This is a hybrid system, I consider it, because it uses a chest rig, but it also has a back to it. Now these are actually two independent parts that that you can install and put together. So you can, for your reconnaissance mission, you can be like, I'm just going to run just a chest rig with no back to it, and boom, be combat effective with this right here. Alright, once again, let's say you're wearing a belt as your backup, you know, you cinch this up nice really tight, and you don't need to use the back at all. Oh, I'm going to be playing a prolonged game, and I need to be more, you know, I need to have more gear, like I need to have a hydration, I need to have maybe a little more mission essential equipment. Boom, you add your back. So it makes it very versatile in that sense. You can really change things up and put things in. You know, it has its slot for a fake plate and all that good stuff. So does the back. But once again, fake plates. If you want to use a fake plate, I understand some guys doing it for the reason that it firms up your gear. I've seen that. What I mean by firming up your gear is this: you know, everything's kind of floppy because it's obviously a soft material, a pliable material. Same thing with these right here. So there's a lot of give and a lot of movement in them. Well, what happens when you put a plate in them? It shores everything up and makes it nice and tight. So your pouches don't bounce around so much, and everything's nice and tight and comfortable. Where I run into problems with seeing players do this to themselves is they put water or sand inside of their fake plates. Okay, when I was in Iraq, I had to wear 11-pound, you know, armor-piercing protection plates in the front and the back. You know, anytime if I could have taken them out and not had to wear them, I wouldn't have. But I needed the level of protection, so I had to deal with the extra 22 pounds on the gear. You know, and you get used to it. But you know what? If armor could be this light and that effective, I'd be wearing it. So there's no reason why you need to do that to yourself. Those guys out there that you see putting sand in their plates or putting weight or putting water or making it heavier like that, that's ridiculous. You know, unless you're a soldier trying to train for keep your endurance up, you're hurting yourself. You know, you're less combat effective when you're tired and worn out, okay? Keep it light, keep it simple. It's still Airsoft and it's still a game, guys. So remember that doesn't have to be that way for you there in doing that. But fake plates do firm up the front of the plate carrier and the back, makes it fit more comfortably sometimes, with less things moving around and flopping. So that's a good idea for those of you using it for that sense. All right. So we've now seen a couple different examples in which you can choose and which you want to use. All right. All of these are good. There's nothing bad about any one of these. All these systems work great. If you have multiple systems, that's fine. But once again, remember, mission essential. A rig like this, about $120 with all of this on it right here that you see. A rig like this with everything you see on it is about $140 because it's a system that can be taken apart and used separately, the front from the back if you want it. So it's a little more money there. These are actually models are Cordura, so it's a good fabric and good material. $30 chest rig, 25 for the belt, I think, 30, and then another, you know, 5, 10 for this and whatever you put on it. So very economical choice. I would recommend, and I always recommend, that you guys pick something that's modular with the MOLLE loop in it, like these are, and like the other one is. While this is a nice, cheap, affordable option here, the problem with it is that it's only as effective as, you know, you can make it. I mean, it's got its purpose set, sewn in pouches that you can't adjust and change for mission. So it becomes less effective than these other setups are. So always go, I think, with a modular setup and a MOLLE setup, even if it's just a chest rig, you know, like this one. This is still MOLLE loops, and I can change the pouches all around to what works best for my needs. All right, and that's what you want. You want it to fit your needs best. Considerations when picking a vest. Think of the kind of missions and the kind of games you're going to be playing. If you're only a weekend rec player, a simple chest rig or a lightweight plate carrier is a good idea. You know, with minimal what you need for the engagement type pouches on it. If you don't need extra pouches, don't wear them. If you're playing a full 24-hour op or you're playing a continuous op over the weekend, add whatever mission essential stuff you need. But once again, keep it within mission essential needs. When setting up your vest itself, the considerations that you should always remember is weapons, ammunition, and essential stuff right here, right where you need it, where it can easily be accessible. IFAKs, individual first aid kits and stuff like that can go in the back, because if it's a real world situation, you can just take that vest off and go to helping somebody. You don't need to keep it on to take care of somebody, so that bulk can go to the back away. Hydration is always important, right in the back, to keep that and to keep yourself hydrated. Extra mission pouch for stuff that you might need but you're not sure is mission essential. Once again, to the back, out of the way. Keep those sides slick. Keep those sides slick so you can move and you're not taking up too much space, especially if you're a big guy like I am. We take up enough as it is. So let's not make that mistake in doing that to ourselves. Cables, hydration, all of that, left side non-firing side. That way it doesn't get in the way of your sling, doesn't get in the way of your ability to react with the weapon, and it keeps you good in combat effective. So just a couple tips, a couple things to consider, and like I said, modular all the time. Much better idea over using just a set up of pouches that are sewn in, you can't change, and that's the way you want to go. Okay. Other than that, it's a personal preference for the most part, guys. Remember that there's no one better choice than the other at the end of the day, and what works for you is what what matters, and what makes you most combat effective is what matters. A look and impressions are a waste of time and a misconception or misunderstanding of what a soldier system should be like and what a real, true impression is. You want to look like a soldier, you want to really emulate that, then think of yourself as a combat soldier. I mean, what do I need? What do I not need? What's holding me down? What's slowing me down? And what am I missing to make myself more effective? And it'll be okay from there. All right? This is Javier Dark Horse. Talk to you guys next time. And make sure you submit your comments and subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to you guys later.